live to be home.
It's time for Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair in West Reading. Got a question about your vehicle? Give us a call at 610-374-8800 or 888-401-0459. So let's get started with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair. Here's Tom and Ashley.
Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to Idle Talk. I am Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are not live.
Nope.
Because we are pre-recording the show. So unfortunately, we can't take any call-ins, and we're not on Facebook. So you cannot see our beautiful faces for radio.
And it did cross our mind to do this show live, but we're going to a conference.
And
we're actually sitting in the main conference right now. So
yeah, exactly. So we the timing wouldn't have really worked. We would have had to excuse ourselves, and it just kind of would have been a little bit too much. So like we did when we went to Puerto Rico.
That's right.
For last January.
That was just my sister, no big deal.
It is also a 3-hour time change. So
yeah, it was a little earlier. That was closer to the end of the day in Puerto Rico than it was here. So that was all good. Not like the middle of the afternoon in California where we're at now.
No. So we are gonna be back live the next week, which I guess is the 20-something. I don't know. I'm not looking at a calendar. But the next Thursday we'll be back live. So if you have any questions about this show, you can always call in, or you can use the Facebook chat bar when we're back on Facebook Live. Yep. So we're going to do the show this week about that we've been promising that we're going to do the warranty show. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what we've been talking about. We've tried to get into warranties before, and then we get phone calls, which we love. But of course, we get a little derailed when we talk to our listeners that have questions about different stuff. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to just be like, dive deep into warranties.
That's right.
Now, Thomas has been doing a lot of reading.
I read a lot of warranty contracts.
I read a lot of things.
I probably read like 15 car warranty contracts this. Exactly. And I found some really interesting stuff. And, I went in with a little bit of preconceived notion and looking at these, and I really wanted to just dive into four main points that we want to touch on. And I found out a lot when I started looking into these 4 points. Like, why do you think you need a warranty?
Yeah.
What to look at when looking at a car warranty, the different types of warranties, and why we as King's Auto Repair Idle Talk may or may not recommend one.
Yeah. And
because that comes down to a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about going forward here.
Yeah. So I'm going to let you kind of lead the charge here, Thomas, on this, because you've been doing all the research and I've just been
I like how you use my proper name.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thomas R. But because you've really been leading the charge on this and kind of reading into everything. And I've just been kind of like the sponge or the bounce stuff off of me to say, like, what do you think about this? What do I think of that? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'd read something interesting and Ashley would be over there working. I'm like, hey, listen to this. Listen to this. Look at this cool thing I just found.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe they put this in there?
Yeah.
So the first part of this we wanted to touch on was why do you think you need a warranty?
And I brought this up because I get warranty calls all the time. Mm-hmm. And these sneaky people are getting phone numbers because they spoof the number. So it looks like a local number. So they're spoofing the numbers, and then I get a phone call from a local area code and exchange. So I think it's someone that I need to talk to, and it's really the National Warranty Company that wants to sell me something.
The Federal National Warranty Company?
Federal National Warranty, whoever they are.
Run by the IRS and the CIA and the FBI, right?
You have to pay in gift cards.
Oh, that's right. You have to pay in gift cards from Target or Apple or iTunes or Google or something weird like that.
Yeah. So you start by getting these phone calls. And while there are legit warranty companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
The phone calls that you get are not going to be the ones. So
yeah, they're not really the companies that are really super legitimate.
I mean, never really taking the time to listen to what they have to tell me because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
They sure. There's a slight chance that they could be worth it / legit. However, we're going to dissect this whole concept moving forward. So why do you think you need a warranty? Do you drive a lot? Do you not drive very much? Do you have a car that's relatively new? Are you going to keep it for a long time? Like, those are the things that you really kind of have to figure out if you really need a warranty, and if you do, which one to move forward with.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different warranties out there.
Yeah.
And digging into these, there were warranties that, covered just the basics. So to equate this to something like your health care, this would be like a catastrophic health insurance type of thing. And a lot of your very basic warranties, your lower cost ones, are just that. They cover the engine, the transmission, and if there's a differential, they'll cover the differential. Basically, they cover the stuff that has oil in it.
Right.
And they cover the stuff that has oil in it as long as you do the maintenance on those items.
Mm-hmm.
And in reading a lot of that stuff, you have to be able to provide maintenance records for everything that you do to that car.
Yeah.
And you have to follow the manufacturer's specifications for doing so, or they may not warranty the item.
Right. So that kind of gets into the different types of warranties as a bullet point. I wanted really quickly to talk about the verbiage of warranties.
Okay.
And there are, I guess they would fall into 3 buckets. There's the manufacturer's warranty.
Mm-hmm.
There's the manufacturer's extended warranty.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's what they like to call the bumper to bumper aftermarket warranty, or I guess the aftermarket warranty. So what the manufacturer's warranty is, it's a set time, like month length of time, and or a mileage length, not one and then the other. It's one or the other. So it's time or mileage that is given by the manufacturer for a certain amount of time for what the manufacturer calls manufacturer's defects.
Yes.
So if the seat rips, it'll get covered.
Not necessarily a seat
rip. It would have to be a seam rip, and it would have to be a manufacturer's defect.
Yep. The seam would have to rip. If it has a tear somewhere else, they're probably not going to cover it because it may have been cut by something in your pocket or on your person.
Right. So, but it also covers alignments for the first 1,000 miles sometimes.
Usually alignments are 12 months, 12,000 miles.
Okay. So, but it covers things that are manufactured incorrectly. And then the manufacturer will say, okay, this was manufactured incorrectly. Or it was a manufacturer's defect. I will take this, I will fix it, and we'll give it back to you free of charge. That is a manufacturer's warranty, bumper to bumper warranty. So let's take a really quick break, and we'll get back into this, and we'll be right back after these messages.
And now let's get back to Tom and Ashley with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are Idle Talk. We are not live today, so we're pre-recording because we're at a conference right now. But we'll be back live next week. So we're talking.
So if you have any kind of questions about this show, just write them down, keep until next week, and give us a call then.
We can get the deluge of warranty questions then, because everyone always has warranty questions. Okay, so 3 types of warranty: manufacturer's defect, Then there's extended manufacturer's warranty, which is, do you want to go into that a little bit?
That is usually a manufacturer will sell you this warranty, and this really only comes from, like, if you're buying a GM at a GM dealer, they will sell you the GM factory extended warranty,
right,
which is very much like the manufacturer's defect warranty you had before, but it doesn't cover some items.
Right, and sometimes there's a deductible with it too.
Yep, and then usually there's a deductible with it unless you pay to have a disappearing deductible.
Right. Now, when I bought my Fiesta, you said that you wanted the extended warranty, so I actually had a warranty on that up until 75,000 miles, and I think it was an additional 24 months on that, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I don't recall.
But we actually did use it for a warranty item, which was great, you know, because it was a pretty big
Well,
repair.
yeah, it had a problem with the screen, with the touch screen in it.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest fear was, you know, the touch screens were pretty new when we bought that car, and I was afraid the touch screen was going to fail.
So I bought that car new, and I bought that extended warranty at the same time. But with extended warranties, you can, if you're buying let's just say you're buying a used GM at a GM dealership and it's still under the manufacturer's warranty, then they can sell you this extended warranty that adds on to the end, to the back end, if you will, of the manufacturer's defect warranty. But if you're buying a GM at a Ford dealership, then they would attempt to sell you an aftermarket warranty.
Yes.
Which is the third kind.
Yes, and the aftermarket warranties come in all kinds of flavors, and this is what you get in the mail, this is what the phone calls are, all that kind of stuff. And what ends up happening with these is you really have to read through them, because depending on what level of warranty it is, you may or may not have coverage.
Right.
Because some of them are just what they call a powertrain warranty, which just covers, like the stuff I said earlier. It covers anything that's lubricated by oil, which is the engine, a lot of parts in the engine, the transmission, and the four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive system. And a lot of them don't cover anything past that in the powertrain. Yeah. They don't cover sensors. They don't cover a lot of things. It just covers the internal parts in there. So that's like that is like your catastrophic health care.
Right.
You know, something went wrong.
Yeah.
So, and then as you buy more coverage, you know, the stuff gets better. So that's kind of the aftermarket warranty.
So getting back to why you think you need a warranty, because Tommy said I jumped ahead. So why would someone think they need a warranty?
Well, like we said, when we went and looked at that car, the touchscreen stuff inside the car was like pretty new in those times, and really didn't know what they were going to cost. And I knew working at the dealer what they cost, and I didn't want to buy one.
Well, and we also knew that those touchscreens didn't have a track record. So
Exactly.
we didn't know, like, is it gun, like, you know, because if something's out for a couple of years, it has a track record, okay, I know that this always happens. So, okay, yeah, let's buy the extended warranty. Or I know that these things are relatively solid. So, you know, but we decided to buy that extended warranty because of the touchscreen. However, when you're asked if you're interested in, or you get the phone call or the thing in the mail, your warranty is expiring and it's already expired, because that's just a sales ploy, and then you start thinking about it, there's a couple things that you really need to determine if it would be really worth your time and money.
So one of the things you got to look at is, how long are you going to keep your car? So if you're planning on keeping it a long time, you're probably going to do a lot of maintenance on it.
Definitely.
And if you're doing a lot of the maintenance on it, you're probably not going to have problems with the internally lubricated parts. because you're
speaking,
going to
no.
be changing the fluids in the engine. You're going to change the engine oil. You're going to change the transmission fluid. You're going to change the fluids in the four-wheel drive systems and the axles and stuff like that. And those systems anymore, if you're changing fluids in them, the failure rate of them is really low.
Very low.
It's when you don't change the fluids in them that they fail. And in all the warranty contracts I read, if you don't change the fluids when the manufacturer says that you have to, they don't cover them.
Yeah.
They ask for the receipts,
Yep.
and if you don't do it in a specified time and window, like they give you a grace period of like 1,000 miles on each side of when that recommended maintenance was supposed to be done.
Okay.
So you can go 1,000 miles over, but if you go over any more than that, they won't honor the warranty.
And that's interesting because a lot of people will use these warranties. Sometimes a part will fail like right after they get the vehicle. You know, we do process warranties at the shop. There are some warranties that we do work with because we know that they're thorough and they're good and they pay. But there's been, someone called and said, hey, I have this problem with my brakes up front. They're locked up and the caliper's locked up, and these people just bought the car like less than 6 months ago. So in those situations, you really, really hope that the warranty company is going to, because the current owners don't have any of it, say over how the vehicle was taken care of before. So you really hope that the warranty company is like, okay, they just bought it, take care of that kind of stuff. So anyway, if you're going to keep the car a long time, that's a reason to consider a warranty.
And, you have to think about, what are you worried about happening? Are you worried about something breaking? Are you looking for that kind of the coverage that if something breaks, it's going to be taken care of?
Right.
Some of this stuff, like I said, the major pieces, as long as you're doing the maintenance, generally anymore, they don't break.
Right.
There's we change oil in, I can't tell you the last time one of our clients' cars that we regularly service had an engine problem where the engine broke. I can't tell you the last time a transmission broke on one. I can't tell you the last time an axle or a transfer case went bad on one that we regularly maintenance at our shop. Because if you take care of it, it doesn't break. Yeah. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's what they're kind of looking at. So my thoughts on the basic warranty is, if your basic aftermarket warranty is, if you're worried about that kind of stuff and it gives you that peace of mind, I would probably consider it.
I would consider it, but
I think you might, me personally, I think you might be wasting your money.
Well, the thing about these, everything that you've looked at, there's no pricing with anything. No. So you have to call them and negotiate the price. And when I say negotiate the price, I mean negotiate the price, because you were listening to a guy.
Yeah, and this goes into a different thing with this goes in with the shiesty companies. I was talking about the good company. I'm talking about the good companies, right? We'll talk about the shiesty companies later.
So, but the warranty, any kind of these warranties doesn't cover maintenance. So you're still going to have to pay for the oil changes, pay for the fluid exchanges, make sure that your tires are all correct and have the right tread amounts on them. You're still going to have to do the basic the maintenance, not just the basic maintenance is just oil change to me. Additional maintenance is
you have to follow
fluids.
the manufacturer's recommended maintenance schedule.
Right. So when you purchase these, that doesn't exclude you from paying for anything. So this is stuff that breaks.
Yep. And we're not talking about maintenance contracts with this either. No. So that's a whole nother realm. That's a whole nother realm of things. So you really have to think, why do you want it? Like us, we were afraid of the electronics failing.
Right.
Then it was kind of an unknown quality. A lot of these electronics have pretty good track records now.
They're getting a lot better.
They're getting a lot better.
Yeah.
So you also want to, was looking at it. One of the questions I thought, why do you think you need a warranty? Is did someone just try selling you one on the phone?
Right.
And
or you got the thing in the mail.
you weren't thinking about it, and now someone's trying to sell you one. I mean, do what makes you feel good is what I'm going to say about it. And if it gives you that peace of mind that says, hey, you know what, I got this warranty, that's great, do it.
Yeah.
So in getting into those aftermarket warranties, what I was gonna say was, with the aftermarket ones, you definitely have to read the contracts because they're so all over the place.
They are amazingly all over the place. And Tommy was reading some of these things to me, and I'm like, well, what does it cover if it doesn't cover all of those things? You know, so there's so many tiers, and you could purchase up, and you can, it's just all over the place. So let's take a really quick break. We'll get into the different types of warranties, and we'll
kind of the minutia of what's covered, what's not.
Right. We'll do
and where to go when you're making a decision about these.
Yes. So we'll do a deep dive, and we'll be right back after these messages.
We're back with more Idle Talk with Tom and Ashley from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here at 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are Idle Talk. And we are, unfortunately, are not live tonight. We are pre-recorded, so we're not taking any call-ins. But if you do have any questions about this, our warranty show, our deep dive, write them down and give us a buzz next week when we're live, or you can type them into the Facebook chat bar when we go live again, and we can try to answer your questions. So we got to the different types of warranties, and we're going to get into the coverage of these warranties. Now we're really going to focus on the aftermarket warranties, not the extended or the manufacturers.
Yeah, these are a lot of the warranties that you're going to see at the used car dealerships, or if you're buying an off-brand car from a car dealership. So you're at the Honda dealer and you're buying a Toyota, this is the warranty they're going to try to sell you.
Right.
So this is the aftermarket warranty, and there's some really good ones out there, and there's some terrible ones out there.
As a caveat, generally the better warranties are sold at large car dealerships.
Yes.
I mean, right? So
yeah.
'cause they have to buy them. You know,
and they want you to come back and buy another car, so they don't want to sell you something bad and have you yelling and screaming at them.
Right.
So they're going to sell you something better.
Right. A little bit better than like an independent car lot.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there isn't independent car lots out there that don't have good warranty contracts.
Not at all.
There's plenty of them out there that carry the same warranty companies that these dealerships do, that they sell their off-brand.
Exactly.
They sell on their off-brand cars. So, but there are some used car dealers out there that don't carry really good ones. So, but we're not going to get into that. We're just going to talk about what we found when we dug into these.
Right.
So, what I found and what got us started on this whole thing is we had a couple people over the years ask us about this, but there's a lawyer I watch on YouTube, and he kind of dissects everything, and he got into a discussion about a car warranty, aftermarket car warranty supplier down in Florida that the Federal Trade Commission's investigating.
Dope. You know that you've done screwed up when the FTC is coming after you. So,
yeah. So they got into this, and they started talking about it. And what the Federal Trade Commission is doing is they're investigating this because this company, I believe they said it was about $6 million. They feel as though that during their investigation, they found that this company has defrauded about $6 million out of people.
Which is incredible.
And they're also one of these companies that does the robo-dialer to your phone. Mm-hmm. So in their investigation of this, they found a lot of stuff And the Federal Trade Commission is actually starting to dig into and chase down a lot of these bad car warranties.
But the funny thing that guy said about, this attorney, he was talking to someone, the lady was telling her story about how he got the extended warranty, and she said that they started out for $6,000. It was a bumper to bumper, I'm air quoting, bumper to bumper warranty for $6,000. And she said, "Wow, that's kind of expensive." And he goes, this guy on the phone trying to sell her this, he goes, "Well, I can make it $5,000. And then she's like, eh. And then he winds up, after negotiating, knocks it down to like $3,000. So if you're already cutting it in half, how much value is there for the company, right? Because the company isn't going to sell something that they're not making money on.
Exactly.
So that was, and that entire conversation, that entire YouTube video is what spurred this conversation that we're having now, because we're like, we really need to talk about this.
Yeah, because you're inundated by all these phone calls every day. Everybody gets them. Your car's warranty is expiring.
Yeah.
It may cost you money when you go in to get it fixed. Well, well, that happens.
Yeah.
But so they actually start investigating them because they were blasting people with robocalls, essentially.
Yeah.
And in their digging in, they actually found that they were getting their call lists from the National Do Not Call list.
It's like, oh my gosh.
So
don't put your number on the Do Not Call list.
Exactly.
Just know, like, I know that cell phones
putting your number on the Do Not Call list is just going to make it worse.
Just make it worse. So, I mean, like, because you think, you're like, okay, Do Not Call list, well, they don't care. They do not care.
Nope.
Because they spoof the numbers from other people and then call through that, so there's no way to track these people, number one.
Exactly.
So just don't. The Do Not Call list is just frustrating in and of itself. But however, the thing that this gentleman had talked about, that there was 427,000 complaints about robocalls and the search for the auto warranties. So, I mean, they have to be making money with this. So they wouldn't go through all this rigmarole if they weren't making money. So
exactly.
That's kind of how I look at it, is like, there's money to be had here. So,
and every time you hear somebody talk about one of these companies too, that they bought something from, they realize that they don't cover anything, or they sold them the very basic warranty for a whole lot of money.
Right.
And they don't cover anything.
Yeah.
So that being said, we'll go into what some of these aftermarket companies won't cover, because it is a lot of stuff. And I said to Ashley as I was reading through here, the stuff they cover, some of this stuff hasn't been on a car in 30 years.
The distributor, what is it? Distributor cap, rotor?
Distributor caps and rotors have probably been gone off of cars for 10 years now.
Minimum 10 years.
Yeah, minimum 10 years. I think Hyundai might have been the last one to have a distributor on a car. Most of them went away in the 90s.
Yes.
So, I mean, them telling you that they're going to cover that on a 20-plus-year-old vehicle, I mean, I guess they probably charged you a lot for that warranty. But there's stuff on here they don't cover. But then you get into what most companies don't cover, and which I found was more interesting, because they don't cover like paint, carpeting, upholstery, fabric, the vehicle's frame. They don't cover the clutch because that's considered a wear item. They don't cover any type of rubber hoses or combination of rubber or metal lines, which would mean like brake lines, brake hoses. They don't cover moldings. They don't cover PCV valves, distributor cap or rotor, which we just said they haven't put on a car in most cars in over 20 years. Wheels and wheel covers, seat belts and retractors, seat heaters integrated into the upholstery. That's where you'd have to replace the seat cover to replace the seat heater.
Right.
A clock spring, which is a very high failure
I was
item.
surprised at the clock spring, because that...
Well, it's a high failure item. And what that is a coil of wire that's in your steering column that allows the switches on the steering wheel to work. It's coiled up like an old clock spring.
Yeah,
and that's what it looks like.
And that's the thing that goes click, 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 click when the old one.
The old ones when they broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't cover that. They don't cover the battery or any cables, nuts, bolts, and fasteners, rubber body parts. So you're talking about like trim, you're talking about
like around
the door, like the door seals or any of that stuff, weather stripping, ducting and tubing, illumination of any kind, including and not limited to lenses, light bulbs, headlight or taillight assemblies, LED lighting, sealed beams, exhaust systems, keyless entry pads and transmitters, brake pads, drums, rotors, and shoes, any type of canvas, fiberglass, vinyl or fabric tops, convertible tops and sunroofs, including the mechanisms, remote compact disc changers, buttons, doors, handles, door hinges, glass and glass assemblies, audio components not originally installed by the factory, GPS components, or any other part of the GPS system, CB radios, any bright metal, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a whole lot of bright metal anymore on cars, especially since we don't have those big 35-mile-an-hour bumpers anymore, like the big.
Yeah. Don't cover sheet metal, bumpers, ornamental moldings, welds, winches, emission systems, catalytic converters, spark plugs and wires, glow plugs, wheel balancing, hoses, belts, wiper blades, restraint belts, hydraulic suspension control systems like shocks or struts, no bearing mounts or housings, shock absorbers, interior and exterior trim items, carburetors, throttle body assemblies, body seals and gaskets, and plastic framing.
So what I was really surprised about with this whole thing was the catalytic converters.
Mm-hmm.
I was very surprised about that, and I was also not surprised about not covering the convertible tops and sunroofs, because they could just wear out.
Yeah, they just wear out and break all of a sudden.
Yeah. But the taillight assemblies, I was surprised about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like the capsules.
Yeah.
Because some, if they're not broken, they can still fail because they can get water in them and that kind of stuff. So I was kind of surprised about those items. So
yeah. And this is for the aftermarket warranties.
Aftermarket.
I won't say every one of them, but a lot of the like extended the manufacturer's extended warranty, a lot of them will cover that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons they do cost a little bit more.
And the catalytic converters are covered on a federal warranty, but
for 8 years, 80,000, I believe.
It's a kind of another.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother blurb. So let's take a really quick break, and then we're going to get into a little bit more detail about what's excluded and included, and then kind of the best coverages that we found, and then the worst coverages. And we'll be right back after these messages.
And now let's get back to Tom and Ashley with Idle Talk from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are Idle Talk. And we're talking about cars, but we're not talking live today. We're pre-recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to, if you have any questions about this show, we'll be back live next week. And we're talking about warranties, which is always something that I don't know what to do. So we do get a lot of calls and questions about, if someone should buy an extended warranty or an aftermarket warranty. So we're going over the items that are not covered, which seems like a lot of stuff that
it seems almost like the whole car,
yes.
right? Seems almost like they don't cover anything on the car.
Yeah.
You're starting to kind of wonder, you're like, do they cover anything?
Yeah. So, but where are we going next here, Thomas?
Well, I was going to talk a little bit about, I was going to stay on the aftermarket warranties here
These are
for a little
all
bit.
Aftermarket.
Yep. all the aftermarket. They are not the vehicle manufacturer extended warranties. But I just read all the stuff that it didn't cover, which you're like, and a lot of those items that they don't cover on there are a lot of like the higher failure rate items.
Right.
And it was interesting to find out that they don't cover any lenses, light bulbs, headlight or taillight assemblies, LED lighting, or exhaust systems. And when I was digging into a lot of these contracts, a lot of the companies, and I'll say your better companies, will exclude that from like the lesser plans. Mm-hmm. But as you go up into the more higher expensive plans, they will include that stuff because they know it has a higher failure rate.
Right.
Because some of that stuff there's no control or rhyme or reason of when it fails.
Right.
LED lighting it's
done.
Electronic.
Yeah.
It just one day it doesn't work.
Right. And just as when we say it's the higher end plans, just because you're buying more expensive plan doesn't mean it's the higher end plan. Mm-hmm. That is because we don't know. We haven't done any sleuthing about how much these things cost because we know that there's tiers, I guess would be the better way to say.
Yeah.
So if you think you're buying a higher tier because it's a bigger dollar, that's not necessarily the case. So, but if they do offer like the tier 1, tier 2, or the platinum and the gold and the bronze and the
platinum,
palladium and
the titanium,
all that kind of stuff.
I saw one called aluminum the other day.
The aluminum plan.
The aluminum plan,
which is nice and light. I'm just kidding.
It was. It was like the light version of their.
It was the warranty 1.0.
Yes.
Versus 2.0.
Exactly.
So, the more important thing of knowing what's covered is reading the contract. And that's where you're going to, sure, they're going to give you a lot of, this is what's covered. Mm-hmm. And sometimes as a non-car person, you don't know what to say. Well,
you don't know what the parts are.
Right. You don't know what the parts are.
That's a whole lot of words. and I almost think that these contracts are made to be like that. That they're made to look like a whole lot of words. And
extra
it looks
words.
like you're getting a whole lot, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're really not.
Yeah. So your best bet with something like that is to run it past an attorney, for sure.
Or figure out what the parts are.
Or figure out what the parts are. But even with figuring out what the parts are, you don't know what the related parts are that could be covered. Yeah, and here's as you read through and the list of not covered parts gets larger, you should be more worried about it. True.
You should be more worried about it.
Yeah.
So if the list of not covered parts is bigger than the list of covered parts, you probably want to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But finding that the covered parts and the not covered parts in the contract is hard because there was some of these were like 25 pages long.
Yeah.
So they were no small feat to read through and find out what's covered and what's not. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to look for in these contracts is if they cover any type of other items that might need to be done while doing whatever job it is.
Okay.
Some of the really bad ones and not so great ones will only cover the failed part. So if there is a failed seal or clutches that got burnt up inside of a transmission, like something went wrong inside, they will only pay for that part. They won't pay for the fluid that's needed to put back the new fluid that needs to go in the transmission. Mm-hmm. They won't pay for any of the other seals that need to be replaced as you're going in. They will only pay for that failed part. So that's something that you want to find out if these companies are doing, because you're not going to have the kind of coverage that you think you're going to have.
Right. Because you're going to, let's just say, just create a scenario. There's a seal that has to be replaced. Mm-hmm. So, but in order to get to that seal, you can only use a seal once. So once it's together, sealing two pieces together, and you take it apart, you can't reuse that seal because it'll automatically leak.
Yeah, it'll probably leak again.
So you have to replace the seal that you have to destroy to get to the seal that has already been destroyed. But you have to replace that one seal. So that warranty company is not going to pay for the seal that you had to get to do the repair, and they're not going to pay for the fluid, generally. So you're going to be on the hook for that. And and a warranty company is only going to pay a certain dollar amount in terms of hourly labor, and whatever that runs over, you as the consumer is going to be responsible for that also.
So that was something else that I found in these contracts. A lot of them only cover up to a certain dollar an hour labor. And when you're looking through these contracts, you want to make sure that they're going to cover the full shop labor. Because some of them, we had one in the shop that only covered $45 worth of labor.
Which is,
and there's no legitimate shop out there that's working for $45 an hour anymore.
No. Body shops don't even work for $45 an hour.
No, they're up because you can't hire anybody and keep your doors open for that kind of money anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So, but you want to make sure the contracts have in there that they cover the full shop labor. Now, some of them offer supplemental plans to cover that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you can pay extra to make sure it's covered. And if it's not covered, you're going to be responsible for the difference between what the shop charges and what they collect from the warranty company.
Right.
So you might have the deductible plus whatever the difference is.
Yeah, they would have a deductible too.
So they still have a deductible. So if you have a $100 deductible and then the warranty company didn't cover $300 of it, you're still going to pay $400 for that for that service.
Yep.
And I mean, you can take it to a different shop or do whatever, but you're still going to have to pay the difference in it. And a lot of them have that verbiage in them now. The other thing that I thought was interesting was some of these companies will only cover to replace the part one time during the contract.
Right.
So if that part failed and they put a replacement one on, and say they used like a subpar part, trying to save some money, because a lot of these companies will dictate what parts go on the car.
Right.
And it won't necessarily be the shop's choice of what's going on there, because a lot of reputable shops will get you the best quality part at the best price.
Right. And that's kind of another thing is that you should look for in here is like, does the warranty company tell the repair shop where the parts should come from?
Yeah. Because a lot of times with engines and transmissions, they'll have you put a used one in, and they will send it from somewhere, and you don't know where it came from. So it didn't even come from like your local car recycler.
Yeah.
So it's not like if you have a problem with it, it's easy to go back to whoever, because you don't know where it came from. So a lot of them stuff will show up out of nowhere, and they'll only cover it once. Well, if something goes wrong with it, then what?
Yeah. Who's going to...
Then you're on the hook for it.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to watch out for. So, and then you got to... Going down, and I asked in a shop owners Facebook group about some stuff, and a lot of it came down to one guy said, he worked in a call center where they took calls for these. And he said, you can't ever tell them it had rust, corrosion, or just wore out. It had to be seized, snapped, broken off. Something had to happen to it.
Some kind of failure.
Some type of failure.
Not wearing out.
Yeah. So they don't cover regular wear and tear. And he said that right there.
Yeah. So that's actually very good information, especially for us when we have to submit a warranty claim. Okay. We do have some best coverages and worst coverages. Let's dive into that when we get back, and we'll be right back after these messages.
We're back with more Idle Talk with Tom and Ashley from King's Auto Repair.
And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tom.
And we are here on 8:30 a.m. WEEU. We are from King's Auto Repair, and we are Idle Talk. And we are going to wrap up our warranty show.
And I realized I had enough for 2 hours here, and I really didn't touch on all the points I wanted to. It should have been less stories and more information, but hey, we're going to do what we can do.
Got to spice it up.
That's right.
This is kind of dry, so we're going to,
Yeah, so I just want to do a quick wrap up here. So when you're considering a warranty, legitimate warranties are always sold by car dealers, either new or used. If the guy's calling you on the phone, it's probably a scam. don't bother with it. The stuff in the mail is most likely a scam. It's not really from your dealer.
Yep.
If the dealer was trying to sell you one, they'd reach out directly.
Exactly.
If you are going to sign a warranty contract, always read it. Make sure you know what parts are covered. A lot of times on a lot of these aftermarket plans, emissions parts are not covered unless you buy the highest end contract or a supplement.
Yeah.
And most of the middle of the road plans don't cover suspension, which has a high failure rate, just like the emissions components. So you want to go with the higher end ones or just your basic. No warranty will cover a failed part if you don't do the maintenance. They always want the logs. They always want to make sure you changed the oil on it, did that kind of stuff.
Yep.
They want those receipts, and it has to be done to the manufacturer's spec or they won't cover it. The clauses are in the contracts.
Manufacturer's spec or better.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because I saw one that said that they wanted you to flush the transmission fluid every 24,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, if they're making calls to you or you're getting the mail, it's usually a scam. Don't put your number on the do not call list. That's what they're using to basically scam you and get more of these phone calls. You're thinking that you're going to go and get rid of all this stuff by signing up, and you're not.
Nope.
And most contracts have a clause in that state that they only pay X amount of dollars per hour, and you're responsible for the difference between what they pay and what the shop charges. They will usually sell a supplement if you want them to cover the whole cost of the labor or the parts or anything like that. You're going to be responsible for that difference. So are there good ones? There are good aftermarket warranties.
Yes.
I found some.
Yep.
I found two of them. One was called Car Checks, and the other is Zurich. Zurich is only sold at car dealers.
Okay.
And Car Checks you can get at the aftermarket, and they also sell it at the car dealers. So those were good aftermarket ones, and the really good ones are really from the OE manufacturers.
Yes.
Those are really the best ones that you can buy.
So that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in next week when you can watch us on Facebook. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like this weekend, but be nice to each other, people. Wear your seatbelts, and
thank you.
And good night.